Rain had just started to fall when Marcus hurried down the busy sidewalk, his jacket slightly open and his mind racing with the thousand worries that had become his daily routine. His little boy Tyler waited at daycare across town, the clock was ticking, and another long shift at the warehouse had already drained every ounce of energy he had left. Life had turned into a quiet marathon of survival since his wife passed away 2 years earlier. Every step felt heavy, every day a test of patience and strength he wasn't sure he still had. People rushed past him like shadows, strangers living their own complicated lives, and Marcus had learned to blend into the background of that moving crowd. Then suddenly, someone stepped in front of him. A woman. She placed a gentle hand against his chest as if stopping time itself. Marcus froze, confused, almost irritated. In a city where no one even made eye contact anymore, a stranger stopping him like that felt unreal. Her expression wasn't angry or desperate. It was something else, something deeply searching. Her name was Rachel. For a moment they simply stood there while the city moved around them. Cars passed, footsteps echoed, rain tapped softly against the pavement. Marcus could feel his heartbeat quicken. He was about to apologize and walk around her when Rachel asked a single question that seemed simple at first but somehow carried a strange weight. Her eyes moved briefly to the small dinosaur backpack hanging from Marcus's shoulder. Then she asked if Tyler was doing okay. The words struck Marcus like a sudden gust of wind. His breath caught. How did this stranger know his son's name? His first instinct was fear, the kind every parent feels when something unexpected touches the fragile world around their child. His mind began racing through possibilities, but Rachel quickly raised her hand again, her face softening with a mixture of nervousness and sadness. Marcus noticed the tears forming in her eyes. And suddenly, the tension shifted into something much deeper. Rachel explained that she recognized the backpack because she had seen Marcus and Tyler many times before. Every morning she sat in a cafe across the street from the daycare where Marcus dropped his son off before rushing to work. At first she hadn't paid much attention, but over time something about them had quietly drawn her attention. A tired father kneeling down to tie his son's shoelaces. A small boy hugging his dad before running inside. Sometimes Marcus looked exhausted, sometimes overwhelmed, but he never missed that moment of affection with his child. Rachel had watched that simple scene unfold dozens of times. And it had changed something inside her. Marcus listened, confused, and unsure where this was going. The rain slowly grew heavier around them, but neither moved. Then Rachel asked the question that truly changed everything. She asked if he was raising Tyler alone. Marcus felt a strange tightness in his chest. He nodded slowly. Rachel's voice trembled as she revealed why that question mattered so much. 2 years earlier she had been driving home from work late at night. A heavy storm had blurred the roads and visibility was terrible. She remembered the flashing ambulance lights, the wrecked car, and the unbearable realization that her vehicle had been the one that collided with another. The woman in that car had died before reaching the hospital. Marcus's wife. The world seemed to tilt beneath Marcus's feet. For a moment the city sounds faded, and all he could hear was the echo of those words. The grief he had buried under routine and responsibility suddenly rushed back like a flood breaking through a dam. Rachel explained that she had spent 2 years living with that night replaying endlessly in her mind. The courts had ruled it a tragic accident caused by weather conditions, but that legal decision never erased the guilt that followed her everywhere. She had attended counseling, tried to rebuild her life, but the weight of that loss remained like a shadow she couldn't escape. One day, while sitting in that cafe, she saw Marcus and Tyler. At first she didn't know who they were. But later, after hearing conversations at the daycare and quietly piecing together the truth, she realized the little boy with the dinosaur backpack was the child who lost his mother in that crash. Since that day Rachel had watched them from a distance, too afraid to speak, too ashamed to reveal herself. But every morning she saw something she didn't expect. Marcus was not a broken man hiding from the world. He was a father fighting through grief for the sake of his son. He packed lunches, wiped tears, told stories, and carried a love so determined that even tragedy hadn't destroyed it. And seeing that love had slowly changed Rachel's life. The rain now fell steadily, soaking both of them as Marcus tried to process everything. What would you feel in that moment? If you stood face to face with the person connected to the worst loss of your life, what choice would you make? Anger felt natural. Pain felt justified. For a long moment Marcus said nothing at all. Rachel continued, her voice breaking as she admitted she had stopped him today because she couldn't hide anymore. She didn't expect forgiveness. She didn't expect kindness. She only needed him to know that she carried the weight of that night every single day. Marcus looked down at the small backpack on his shoulder. Tyler would be waiting. Tyler who still asked questions about his mother. Tyler who sometimes cried quietly at night. Tyler who had unknowingly become the reason Marcus kept moving forward. Marcus finally looked back at Rachel. The anger he expected to feel never fully arrived. Instead, he saw something else in front of him, a person who had already been punishing herself for years. Life had taken something from both of them. Slowly, Marcus exhaled and told Rachel something she clearly hadn't expected to hear. He said that Tyler was doing okay. Not perfect. Not easy. But okay. Because love had kept them moving. Tears streamed down Rachel's face as the words settled between them like fragile glass. The rain softened. The noise of the city returned. Marcus adjusted the backpack on his shoulder and took a step forward before gently placing his hand on Rachel's arm. The gesture wasn't forgiveness fully spoken, but it was something powerful enough to stop the spiral of guilt that had consumed her for 2 long years. Sometimes healing doesn't come from forgetting pain. Sometimes it comes from choosing not to let pain destroy what's left. Marcus walked away toward the daycare, where Tyler would soon run into his arms with the same joyful energy that had quietly saved his father's life. Behind him, Rachel stood in the rain, breathing differently for the first time in years. And somewhere in that moment, 2 broken paths found a small piece of peace. Before the story ends, take a moment and tell me in the comments, if you were in Marcus's place, would you have reacted the same way? And if this story touched your heart even a little, please consider liking the video, sharing it with someone who believes in second chances, and subscribing for more stories that remind us how powerful kindness can truly be.